Okay, so we've kind of talked through some of the really nice things that we can say about Future Motion right now, given the release of the GTS. All right, we're going to start getting into some of the less favorable things. We're going to get into a little battery history right here, just so that we can see what we're working with, so that we know what we're getting and what we're not. So the first thing to start out with is V1 Plus battery. Okay, great pack, LifePo 4. I can't remember what the size of this cell is, but it's a little bit more kind of akin to what a 2170 is, all right? So this was around for a few years. It worked out great, except we could plug, a charger right into and use a solar converter to boost our power levels for the whole ride. And so when they switched over to the XR pack, I really didn't notice that much difference. And the one thing that I did notice was I was one of the unlucky recipients of the pink packs in 2018, and the 32 cell is just not good in this configuration. And so I wound up paying, I think, like a $600 or $700 repair bill for buying a board. That's it. That was 2018. It's kind of what started prompting me to start the shop. So they had some battery issues, right? You can see the cells through the padding. So what did they do? Well, they took care of that little problem, and now you can't see what cells you have anymore. Except we can see what cells these are. These are VTC 5s, so they are nearly identical to this, but just in a 1P configuration. So we went from this to this to this, which is basically this. All right, I think the VTC 5 actually has a little bit more punch. I'd have to look it up. So then we moved on to the Pint X, and God, I don't know where my Pint X battery pack is. It was right here. Oh, there it is. So, Pint X battery pack was pretty much just them doubling down on what they had in there. So they took this, they swapped it back to XR cells, and they basically just took this pack and they smushed it in so it fit in a Pint X pack. And then we all know what happened there was the way they designed the dish of that tugged on this harness right here. And so there's a ton of people with temperature errors, with error 16s and other things like this. And this is just starting to appear now because the harness has gone through enough wear and tear to actually start affecting the ride. So after we got that sweet 2P pack from the Pints, that's when we went to GT. All right. And they used 2170, so it was a brand new cell, and they did it in pretty much the same configuration. They just made it a 72-volt system. So we went from 54 to 63 to 63 to 63, then up to 84, or then up to 72. And that was a pretty big jump, but I still probably rode my XR faster than my GT. I'm not really positive why. I just like the platform more. The stock GT sucks. Like, it's too high in the pads. The tire feels like literally like you're riding a helmet. Like, they designed that tire to be pretty much as stable as trying to stand on a helmet, on the top of the helmet, which I didn't like. So I don't have a GTS pack out, but basically what they're doing with the GTS pack is, again, kind of going back to that idea of, let's start out with 1P, then we'll go to 2P, then we'll go back down to 1P, then we'll go up to 2P, and then we'll go back down to 1P. So now with the GTS, we have a different configuration, but it's only a 1P pack. So while we have more available voltage, and the thing's got a ton more punch, there is something to be said about where are they going to go from here. So if we just wind up seeing kind of a 2P version of what we just had, then again, we're just watching this needle go up and down and up and down and up and down. There's no real progress being made. It's just kind of like ping-ponging back and forth and doing a little bit of wool pulling with higher voltages. Like, I can appreciate those higher voltages from a rider's perspective, but now when we draw it out into the macro and we start talking about cost effectiveness, and other things like this, we might get, for some people, a better answer with an alternative controller version than what's in there. Because here's the other part is, with the old controllers, we used to be able to go, oh, okay, well, we'll fix it, but first we're going to match it up so you can ride away with something today. Well, they've taken that ability away from us. So pretty much if anything mechanical goes wrong at this point, you need the BMS and the controller that goes with your board, and there's no swapping it out. The same thing is going for the XRs, the same thing is going for the Pint and the Pint X's. Now that the haptic buzz update is there, it is also tying everything terribly together to a point where you're not going to be able to modify it yourself. And when those times come, when you can't change your own battery pack for $450 or however much Shy Battery or Twilight Lord is going to charge for their packs at the end of the day, when you can't do anything about it, you're going to be upset. So while you're really, really excited, just like I am, about the extra power and the extra performance of the GTS, the things that we've given up might not be worth it and are what is driving a large portion of riders to go towards Vesc. And I can't blame them at this point, because if you know what you're doing and you're willing to put up with it, and you have a little bit of technical know-how and understand how to tune and understand it's not going to be perfect all at once and want that ownership over your device, that is a great option for you, right? And Onewheel, man, you guys need to take note of that, because again, I can put a price list down and for like $1,000 less, I can actually own a Vesc versus having the GTS, which I'll get to part 2 later, which is the axle, which was clearly redesigned, but not quite enough. So it's kind of like the same way that they said, well, let's make a Pint X. Let's just drop the dish down. But what they did is they pulled these balance leads down here too, and so where it fits in the box always crushes it. It's not great. It seems like something they rushed over and they breezed over to get through it so that they could get to the next part, which is building the firmware around it and then being able to sell that. And that's what you're buying, is you're buying a completely brand new product that's good to go out of the box. There's no programming, no assembly necessary. That's pretty much it. That's the only difference at this point, and it's very, very reasonable to say that with the right tune, you can get more performance out of your Vesc. Again, some people are just not going to be interested in it, and that's fine. So the people that are still in Onewheel world, remember this. When you go through the next round of board iterations, are they really just selling you the exact same thing, reconfigured slightly and slightly more slick than it looked last time, and that's convincing you to buy it more than it was when it kind of looked like someone just built it out of their garage? I don't know. Anyways, thanks for coming to my battery talk. I'll see you later.